Hello, today you will hear a story about a man's revenge. My life has always been filled with everyday needs. Nothing out of the ordinary. I was pretty good with numbers and got a decent education. But having a good education does not mean getting a decent job. After a series of unsuccessful jobs, I was still lucky enough to get a job as a clerk in a good bank. Since then, luck has finally begun to smile at me a little. Step by step, I achieved good success in my work and reached new, more profitable positions. It was not easy, but I felt that I was in the right place, so I worked hard to achieve something more. My life slowly acquired brighter colors. I liked everything, but there was one drawback. I always wanted to have a family waiting for me at home. But after even very good evenings, I had to return to an empty and lonely house, where I was immediately overtaken by fatigue. In order not to think about my loneliness, I just went to bed. I have never been attracted to a noisy pastime. No, of course I loved spending time with friends, but I was always drawn to home only, not to an empty and cold house, but to the abode of cozy family happiness. And these thoughts always haunted me. Stefan, you seem to be cheerful today, but why are you sad now? Have you drunk a lot? My friend Alan asked me jokingly. Never mind, this evening is beautiful. Just thinking. Everything is fine. No, my friend. Well, I see. We are sitting in a prestigious club. I have been punching the entrance for us here for 2 weeks. We must enjoy every moment. Alan, I'm really grateful to you that you pulled me out, but for some reason I'm not in the mood for a fun evening today. Just don't be offended, please. Well, everything is clear. I know what's up. I can see how you can't take your eyes off Elizabeth. Didn't understand what? Van whom? Yes, relax. I know this girl. We once walked in the same company. So I'll arrange everything now. No, Alan, no. What are you talking about? No need. Still as it should be. I don't want to look at your sour face all evening. Damn, Alan, stop. I anxiously tried to seat my friend in his seat. And then he brought Elizabeth to our table. This girl really interested me that evening. She brightly stood out from the crowd. But I didn't even think about meeting her. Well, Elizabeth, this is my best friend Stefan. Nice to meet you, Stefan. Look, you didn't say he was so handsome. Elizabeth teased me. I was initially slow, but Alan made me nervous. However, that didn't last long. Elizabeth was easy to communicate with, and I was able to relax. The evening took a sudden turn when Elizabeth pulled me onto the dance floor. We danced and had fun until the early morning. I was incredibly happy, feeling an upsurge that I hadn't felt in a long time. Thanks to my friend's efforts, the evening was amazing. But our meetings with Elizabeth didn't end there. They continued successfully. I still remember our first meeting, even though it's been more than 15 years since I married her. Elizabeth has always been cheerful and energetic. I didn't let her work because of my abilities. I loved her deeply and did everything I could to make her happy. In addition to gifts on special occasions, I made sure to make her happy in our everyday life. However, Elizabeth was carefree and didn't want to have children. My arguments about starting a family seemed to fall on deaf ears. She didn't want to take care of children, and I couldn't convince her that it wasn't scary and that everyone goes through it. But Elizabeth refused to listen to me, causing more and more arguments between us. One day I came home early and was surprised to find a man I didn't know eating the lasagna we were supposed to have for dinner. "Oh, you must be Stefan," Elizabeth exclaimed excitedly. "I'm sorry I didn't warn you. This is my brother Eric." "Oh, very nice to meet you, Eric," I replied, completely confused. "Oh dear, you're home early today. I didn't have time to cook a new dinner." Eric was hungry from the road, so I fed him. "I see you've already met," Elizabeth said with a smile. "Can I speak to you in the kitchen?" I called out to Elizabeth anxiously. "Is this really your brother? Why didn't you tell me about him before?" "Honey, I'm sorry. We didn't communicate properly since childhood. He contacted me recently and is passing through our city. He has some problems and will be staying with us for a while. I hope you're not too taken aback." I was very surprised and confused by this unexpected situation, but I tried to remain calm. And so Eric appeared in our lives unexpectedly. He was a very unpleasant person, and I couldn't understand why Elizabeth never mentioned him to me. They communicated so well, as if they were very close. I'll even say more. if I hadn't been told that this was her brother, then I would have obviously thought something else. Every day, I began to notice more and more annoying moments. This guy had already started wearing my clothes, treated me like he had known me for a long time, and was my best friend. It was terribly stressful for me. Elizabeth, look, but is Eric going to live with us for a long time? I'm not kicking him out, but it just wouldn't hurt to have him move out already. Honestly. Honey, what are you starting? This is still my own brother. You can't just kick him out into the street. I understand everything, but he is an adult man, and we are not his parents. Something needs to be done about this. Well, of course you should expel him as soon as possible. Okay, I get it. But if you had a brother or sister, you would understand everything. That's it. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Elizabeth's harsh remarks did not sit well with me. She didn't even want to talk about it. This made me even more worried. I felt that there was clearly something wrong here. It was useless to ask, so I decided to follow these relatives. I was wondering what they were talking about when I was not around. At a time when no one was at home, I set up several hidden cameras to follow. I set up remote access to these cameras, and all information was saved to a computer in my office. I always had enough work, so I did not immediately start watching the recorded video. Somehow I got a day when I managed to finish all my business early. I remembered the cameras, and decided to review the captured video. Initially, nothing aroused suspicion. But soon I saw something that made my hair stand on end. Right in our bedroom, these two were tumbling on our bed, and this happened often after I left for work. I was just in a stupor from what I saw. My brain could not properly process this information. I definitely did not expect this. I tried to pull myself together and listen to more of their conversations. Listen, Eric, the idea of course is crazy. But it turns me on as hell to settle in my husband's house and not run around these hotels anymore. It's certainly good, but I'm worried he'll suspect something. He's already giving me scandals as he's already caught me with his suspicions. Oh, Elizabeth, come on. Your sluggish hubby will not suspect anything until retirement, and his magnificent patience will last for a bunch of years. By the way, throw me some money. I want to update my wardrobe a bit. Eric, well, as much as possible. I'm already tired of carrying money from my husband and spending it on you. You should already find a normal job. Yes, we will make a fortune on your rich man. I have a plan, so don't worry. Let's leave this bastard in the past and continue to have fun. He still thinks I'm your brother. He's an idiot. He'll never think of it, or get to the bottom of the truth, and we will throw it with ease. I don't know, Eric, I don't want to leave him. After all, this is stability and good money. Soon you will see even more money. Let's circle it around the finger, and this burdock will never know about anything. Oh, you dirty bitches, I exclaimed, hearing all these nasty things. I believed in her for so many years, and this creature constantly fooled around with an inferior moron, and even dragged him into my house, hanging tons of lies on her ears. I felt bad. It was too harsh, and harsh truth about many years of my life which just knocked me down. It was hard for me to breathe. My thoughts were confused, my head was spinning. I grabbed a bottle of whiskey, unscrewed the cork, and poured in a good amount in large gulps, like a dehydrated desert wanderer stumbling upon an oasis. Alcohol still could not calm me for a long time. My heart was beating too loud and too fast. I did not go home. I sat, finishing the bottle, and tried to make sense of it all. The chaos of thoughts soon turned into one wonderful thought, and then I felt like I had made the only right decision. I had to take revenge on these bastards, a good revenge. I dug up information about this bastard. He was a complete loser in life, who had a lot of debt. Some pretty serious people were looking for him in other cities, and this dirty bastard decided to settle down with me. When I was younger, I was good at driving a truck. It was one of my first part-time jobs as a student, and I decided to remember the past. I rented a truck and prepared it a little for an exciting trip. A little later, I drove the truck to my house. Eric, Elizabeth, are you at home? Yes, honey, what happened? Elizabeth asked worriedly. Nothing special, baby. I wanted to show you both something. Call Eric and I'll meet you outside. These frightened rabbits came out to me. I led them to the car. Look in the middle of the container. There, you will find a surprise. The deceitful creatures went inside the container and began to look around. Stefan, there's nothing here. Is this a joke? Elizabeth said indignantly. How is there nothing? But wait, here it is. I included a video of their entertainment in the house. And you bitch, have been playing me for a fool. I've wanted to slap you for so long, you stupid bastard. Eric rushed over to me. Take your time, you rotten bastard. Keep the present. I threw a pre-prepared bucket of slop and slippery oil. I slipped on the slippery oil and knocked down the bastard. Then I quickly closed the container shutter. Inside, I lined the container with soft building materials and glued everything with oilcloth. I didn't want them to break their necks, so that later they wouldn't have to answer for the death of these bastards. But nevertheless, they were in for a rather intense trip. I quickly jumped into the truck and rushed out of town. There, I drove off-road with a bunch of bumps, causing the container to be thrown in all directions. I heard these scum struggling inside. It was obviously very slippery and impossible to stay in one place. We had a rough ride over the potholes in the road and I stopped. Then I slowly got out and opened the shutter. These two creatures fell out of this hellish booth. You bastard, you'll pay for this, Eric choked out, threatening me. Friend, are you covered in shit and still threatening me? I retorted, come here, I'll kill you. Shut your mouth, you worthless creature. I grabbed my baton and gave a good punch to the face of the bastard who was running at me, knocking him down. And why are you silent, huh, Elizabeth? I asked. Stefan, I didn't want to, she whimpered. What, you bitch didn't want to ruin my life? It's too late for apologies. You can shove them up your ass. You bitches have finished the game, and now each of you will get exactly what you deserve. At that moment, a couple of cars pulled up. Ernest, a very serious businessman to whom Eric owed a lot, came out. I had contacted him in advance and made an appointment here. Ernest was very pleased with this surprise. Oh, Stefan, you're a lifesaver. If I had arrived a little later, there would be no one to collect debts from, he said. You're absolutely right. Take this bastard before I completely blow his head off. Will Eric remember me? Now you'll be hunchbacked for a long time to pay me everything. Stefan, don't worry. This bastard is going to have a hard time. I willingly believe you, Ernest. And what will happen to me? Elizabeth whined in a trembling voice. And you, bitch, can do whatever you want. But you won't be returning home. All your things, up to your underpants, will burn in a fire. I'll take care of it so you can have fun further, only with a bare ass. Best wishes. I jumped into the truck and drove off. At that moment, I felt a sense of relief. This was something that needed to be done, and now I could safely make plans for my future life. It wasn't easy to let go of so many years of lies and vices, but I was sure I could handle it. I divorced Elizabeth soon after. This brute didn't get a penny after the divorce. She had never aspired to work before, and with good reason. And with my recommendation, she will definitely not be able to find a normal job if she tries. Eric began to work off his debt for many years. Now I was in no hurry to trust people. I had everything for a successful life. I no longer felt the fear of being alone. I was no longer the young man who blindly sought his love. Who knows, maybe I'll be lucky in this matter, but now I'm definitely not going to rush. Dear listeners, your support is very important to us. If you like our story, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very motivating for us. We need your feedback to improve our content.